Hello.
It hasn't come up yet.
Why ain't it up yet?
I don't know. It's not up.
Oh, here it's come. There was your where's the whiskey? Hello. I got it up.
It's still not coming up on my phone.
Well, it's up on my
There it
computer.
goes.
So, hello. How is everybody? We're having some technical difficulties as usual. Welcome. Baltimore, Ohio. You're not far from us, Sterling. Well, yeah, you are, but not really. Not how far you usually are. How is everybody tonight? Before we get nervous and forget, we want to make sure that we say hello and thank you to all of the ones that are out there supporting us and trying to help us get this going. Hey, jamming. A special thank you to Unchained Rabbit Hole, Retired Rider, Ray's Modal Life, and Coy. And I'm so sorry, Coy, I forgot what your handle was. Lost in the City or something to that effect.
Lost,
Do you remember it?
lost in the woods or something, or lost in the forest.
Yeah.
Please
Hey,
correct
Shadow,
that.
welcome. And a thank you to Motobomb and Sick Bastard, Ray Gregory Rides and Old Mike, Rolling with T-Bone, Dave's channel, Robert Love and his wife Jess, Wannabe Farmer. Check out their channel. Evil Rick, thank you so much for pushing the channel and the videos. We greatly appreciate it. And Rocket Queen 71. So thank you all. So I guess tonight we are going to discuss why do spirits get stuck on Earth and the different spirits that are out there. There are different ones. Frog, you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah. Tonight we're going to talk about, like she said, why spirits get stuck here. So we're going to start off with accidental deaths. Now, a lot of spirits get stuck here because they don't know they passed. When you pass so fast or something similar to that, there's spirits that have no idea that you passed. Now, there's also suicide.
No, not like purgatory, Sterling. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's a
Close
little
though.
different. A suicide, they say that a lot of suicides don't linger, which I don't believe that at all, because that's a lot of emotion. And sorry, my cat's over here attacking and stuff. uh there's a lot of emotions coming out of a suicide, so I believe that would be a high probability of getting stuck here on Earth. And there's also religious beliefs. And now, when I say religious beliefs, I mean somebody who thinks that they are a Christian or whatever. They've done good, but they are in fear of something that they did sometime in their life that God will not accept them or their maker or however you want to put it. You know, your higher belief. And let's see. Yeah, they're afraid that God will punish them. And another big reason is obsessive love or greed for material or possessions. You know, there's a lot of ghost stories about people that won't want to leave their mansions or their houses, or even I'll say it's like a special place that means a lot to them. You know, somewhere where they shared a memory that they just don't want to let go of. And let's see. And the ones that are just still trying to live their lives that didn't finish what they thought they should have finished in their lifetime is another big one, I think. You know, people people have, like me, I have a hard time letting go of some things, and I believe that's a part of it. Uh, like I said before, a lot of people didn't know they passed, like people that have car accidents and things like that, or were unalived, I'll say, and they weren't aware, that it happened. And
Or sometimes they just don't want to believe that it happened.
yeah, yeah, they don't
They
want to
want to,
believe that it happened. And ensuring the safety of a loved one, I think, is another good one. You know, they feel so responsible to somebody that they just can't leave them. They feel like they have to stay there to make sure that that person is okay. Uh,
yeah, Sterling, that's one of the things that happens quite a bit, where, especially in couples that have been together for years, 50 years, sometimes it doesn't take that long, but a lot of
yeah,
times when couples are together, you'll hear that one passes away and another one will pass shortly thereafter. They're not able to go on without the other, or their spirits will stay and make sure they're okay and try to take care of them. Sorry, Frog, go ahead.
that's okay. There may be particular places or a person and an item the spirit may be too frightened to leave with its guardian angel or loved one. Now, I know some people don't believe in guardian angels, but that's how a lot of people put it. There's something there to help you go into the afterlife, and they just deny it. And where can spirits be found? Now, I think one of the biggest places besides your home is churches. A lot of people don't know that a lot of churches will hold spirits because that that church was their whole life, was their religion, and where they felt wonderful and free. So I think churches is a big one. Of course, your home. Now, battlefields is another big one. That was such a high energy, traumatic event that, we all know about the World War or the Civil War battles down in Gettysburg. And the Gettysburg, if you don't know about the Gettysburg Ghost, I don't know where you've been at, because they're all over the internet. And they are playing their role over and over again till, I guess, eternity. But excuse me. But
There's
ghosts can
a
basically be anywhere, even out in the middle of the woods. I have picked up stuff. And now, me personally, there's been 3 times that I've been in the woods where it felt like somebody grabbed my shoulder and turned me around, and I'm the only one there. And I know I was touched by a spirit because I get the goosebumps, and you get the what the hell just happened. So really,
there's
spirits can be anywhere. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to bring up the point that a lot of people, you watch these ghost hunters and stuff, and um, when I've seen groups get together, there's a lot of people that believe they're in the graveyards and in um, isolated places, when the truth is that most of them aren't. There,
Yeah.
if there is one there, there's a reason it's there. Usually it's because they were killed there, or there was a traumatic event, or they're tied to that property,
Yep.
because they have to have energy. So that's why they are usually found in places like hospitals and um, offices, or around large groups of people, because they
Yeah.
need your energy or your prana to be able to stay here. So a lot of times they're not going to be in the graveyards or empty homes where nobody's there, unless something major happened, and or it's one of their last memories that they're hanging on to.
Yeah. And I can't believe I forgot hospitals, because that is a big one. Because like when I got back a few years back, and they stuck me back in an isolation area that they don't use anymore because what is it they thought I had?
Tuberculosis.
Yeah, they thought I had tuberculosis, so they stuck me in the old area of the hospital here. And when the first thing I asked the nurse is, "Why'd y'all stick me back here with all these ghosts?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, that man keeps coming in here." And she turned white as a ghost, and she's like, "You already seen the man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen him. He keeps coming in here, and he's not happy." She's like, "Yeah, we know about him." So I can't believe I forgot to mention that the hospital.
Jamin, thanks for coming back. Jamin said he
Thank,
couldn't stay gone. He's plugged in.
I appreciate that, Jamin.
Hi,
And
Salty. Process, thanks for coming.
thank you guys, wherever my camera is. All right. Now, earthbound souls go to familiar places like homes, churches, and they're happy places. They do not understand they are passed away and or have no wish to pass over. Now, that's kind of controversial that people don't understand why somebody wouldn't want to pass over. But like I said, they sometimes there's people that feel that they've done something bad or did somebody wrong that God is going to hold against them. And but they are usually intelligent spirits. And what I mean by intelligent spirits, I can sit here and on my with my ghost tube and ask them questions, and they're understanding what I'm saying, and they have something intelligent to say back. Now, not always. Some of them like repeat certain phrases. Like here, I get she won't leave a whole lot. Usually, if I turn my ghost tube on, I'll get that 3 or 4 times. Now, I don't know if that means that one lady spirit is here and she just refuses to leave, or if you heard some of my ghost stories on T Bone's channel, I talk about Miss Eve, and I believe she's been attached to me my whole life. She just can't affect me the way she used to. And so I don't know if they're talking about her, or there's apparently a slave lady that has been here lately. They could be talking about her. She doesn't want to go back because Indiana was a free state, and she doesn't want to go back. And they used to run them through here. And then there's wandering spirits, are spirits that are lost and like to follow people around. Now, it doesn't have to be a family member, something, you know how you click with some people? Well, spirits do that too, especially uh, what they call medium people. Some people might say I'm a medium, but I don't. Maybe I am, maybe I ain't. I don't know. I just know they like to come around me, and they don't mind talking to me. Let's see here.
Oh, it's
A
your
wandering
aura.
spirit can come from accidents or sudden deaths, and can come from uh, what's the word I'm trying to think? Uh, Somebody from your past that you didn't even really recognize or remember. I think that happens a lot because
Well, they're drawn to your aura when, like, you see more than you feel, and as far as the spirits and the orbs and different things, whereas I feel it, but a lot of times those energies and the spirits, they can see an aura
yeah,
that surrounds you. And if you're a medium or someone that sees,
yeah,
then you have a brighter aura to them.
yeah,
So they're drawn to it and they know they can communicate with you, whereas not everybody has that.
yeah. That's true because I've had several people say that they see a aura around me that is like no other color they have seen before, and they can't even describe it to me. But usually, if you see auras, that's energy, and there's a lighter color and a brighter color will be positive, and the darker will be, of course, dark. Now, people that see auras will talk about white, yellow, pink, blue, light blue, and black mostly. So that's
Roland says yellowish golden froggy.
but yeah, you how you how open you are and how your aura was is basically who you are. Your aura shows exactly who you are and what kind of person you are. Has a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
Um,
so you don't want to be fake around people who can see auras because they know the truth.
yeah, and and this lady that I uh, read some of her stuff, she says that an aura is like a beacon to spirits, and your aura light attracts spirits. So that's why I was saying that they already know that I'm a willing participant, just as long as they don't have any ill intent. And I have to say that a lot. I have to say, if you have ill intent or bad intentions, you're not welcome here. And if you do, if you do have spirits around you, like T Bone talks about just a little bit, he says he's going to do some videos on it, but he's talked about, there's a couple spirits in his house. He hears voices and such. And he needs to tell them, hey, if you got ill intent or bad intentions, you're not welcome here. And you're definitely not allowed me to affect my feelings or affect my mind. And those things are really important to say out loud to them. It
Hey,
don't
Shocker.
always work. Sorry, what?
Sorry, Shocker. And I was just saying, welcome, Shocker, and American Out Uncensored, and Quick Shoe have all joined us.
Thanks everyone for coming.
But
We
Rolling
really
with T
appreciate it.
Bone says that he's been told his aura changes colors, and believe it or not, his eyes change colors. And T Bone, I believe it because mine change. They go from
Yep.
blue to green.
And
It
to
depends
Hazel.
on my and Hazel. It depends on my mood, my emotions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, your aura can change on your emotions for sure. I mean, your aura's not going to stay the same all the time. If you're in, let's call it bad thoughts, anger, uh, like say you lost a loved one and you're down, your aura is going to change to you, how you're feeling in that moment. I think that's why a lot of people have trouble describing my aura, because I'm all over the place. And you know, and to lost spirits, you know, like my aura would be a warmth, and the spirits living in a very gray area. They don't know. They're confused basically. Now let's talk
We talk
about.
out loud. Rowan was said we talk out loud to them all the time. Said, yeah, we do too.
Yeah, we do. Especially her, because they like to mess with her while she's sleeping. And she don't. She needs her sleep. She
Yeah,
is a
David.
sleeper. But she
He
works
has a hard
hard
time.
too.
He has a hard time getting me up, but sometimes I woke up the other night and I was mad because there was it was so cold I was shaking, and I don't get cold at night, I get hot. I've got fans going everywhere. But I woke up and I was freezing. It was like to the bone, and something was a hold of me. And I come out and was asking him what was going on or if he seen or heard anything, and why it was so cold, because I thought the door was open. And he said, no, the door was closed. Everything was fine. And I was like, no. So I went back in the bedroom and I started telling him off. I said, you better leave me alone. I'm not playing tonight.
Yeah. And I actually got cold chills when I went back there too. It felt like when she started fussing at him, it felt like I was kind of like right in the doorway, and it felt like they just walked right through me and got out of there because she was fussing at him. And it was quite weird, because later on, about 10 or 15 minutes later, I was walking around saying some things that need to be said when that happens, and they just kept coming up to me. And I don't think they said anything specific. I did turn on my ghost tube that night, but it didn't. It was all over the place. The only thing I got for sure was that there was 5 spirits. Well, first it said there was 3 spirits. Then it said it, like 20 minutes later, that there was 5. And sometimes that's a hard. It's hard to get a yes and no answer out of them, and it's hard to get how many is actually here. Like the night that.
Rowan with Team Bone says that his go from hazel to green to brown normally. One's one says R1 says that they turned black once, but I was really, really mad. And yeah, that happens too.
Yeah, yes, that will happen. Uh, okay, let's talk about the different kind of hauntings.
Oh, hold on. Ray asked a question. He said, do you guys think that people that are more negative or depressed have more experiences? And yes, I do, because
Absolutely.
they have more bad experiences, not good experiences. Because
Yep.
when you're depressed and you're down and everything around you is negative, that's what you're sending out to the universe. You're pushing all of that negativity out, and that's what you're going to draw in.
Yep.
So when you have, that's why I try to push, and that's why Frog tells me that I'm his nemesis, because I always look for a silver lining.
And I
And
don't.
and no matter what happens, whether we agree with it or like it, there's a reason it's happening. So
Yeah.
you have to find that silver lining that's out there so that you can push out that positive energy, so that that is what comes back to you, or is what is pulls into you from the universe. It's there's different things, the more negativity, the more bad experience you're probably going to have.
Yeah.
Greg says, aren't frogs cold-blooded?
No. No. Not this one anyway. I am now that I'm getting a little older, but Nah, I used to play naked out in the snow because it felt great. But that's
See,
another.
that's for another story.
Yeah.
Um, Ray says, I'm asking because I'm a pretty positive person and I've never had anything that I feel like has been following me around for years. And you may not, Ray. A lot of people don't. Not everybody gets to see it. I'm thankful that I have, because I know a lot of people have that understanding of, if you can't see it, or if you don't go through it, then it's not real. But it, I've had positive and negative things, but most of the spirits that I've had surrounding me have been a positive experience.
Yeah. She has a lot of family members that come around and check on her constantly. I see her mother. Her mother had, the 70s and 80s hair. So she's really easy to spot because she's only like 4'2", but her hair makes her 4'8". So she's really and she comes in strong. When they come in strong is when you can see them. And she makes, she lets me know she's still there checking on her daughter, because we dated when we was kids, teenagers, and her mom called the police on me to make me stay away from her, and didn't tell her none of this, and then had her brother, which is Lori's uncle, come down with a little snub nose 38 and threaten me with it to stay away. So as far as she knew, I just left her. She didn't know anything about this until 37 years later, when we met again, just by happenstance on me commenting on somebody's Facebook post. She's like, "Do you remember me?" And I was like, "Well, of course I do. I ain't gonna forget that."
I had
There's
no
other
idea.
reasons, good reasons to remember her, but that was, yeah, it stood
But
out.
that's another example of everything happens for a reason. Because when, as I hear all of your stories from your past, and I know the road that I was led to, it didn't mesh. I
She's
don't
never
think
up
that
with my ass.
I don't think that it would have been a good thing for us. I had to grow up. I was naive, and there was a lot of things I needed to learn before you and I got together. And I was married for 30 years between that time, and he passed away, and now we're able to be together.
Yeah.
And you went through your
Traumatic
life and the roads,
wife.
your traumatic portion. So, we've both had to learn and move forward. So, but that's an example of, not everything is the way we want it, but
Yeah.
it's for a reason. You just have to
And to get
find
back
that positive piece.
what Ray said. Now this is just what I believe, Ray. You have a very positive family, and you are a very positive stand up man. And that might be the whole reason why, you talked about the man that lived there before committed suicide. That's probably why he doesn't affect you all, because you have no negativity. You're not pushing out any bad for him to feed off of. So he could be there and just be silent and dead to you all, because he don't want nothing to do with anything positive. That could be a big reason why you've never seen him or heard from him or him affecting you all. But that's a good thought to have, Ray. Your positivity keeps helps keep the negativity away. And I know I've listened to you talk about you and your family for what, 4 or 5 years now, and you all are a positive, happy family. You do everything you can to keep it that way, and that's probably why he doesn't have the ability to mess with you all.
Yeah, and that's not to say that every moment's not going to. There is nothing in life or nobody in life that's always 100% going to have positive times or have happy
Yeah,
times, or there's not going to be some sort of traumatic event. But it's your main outlook. It's what you put out that is what you'll get back.
yeah, yeah. That's true. I don't even remember where I was now. I had to make notes because I'm so scatterbrained. Let's see. Oh, residual hauntings. This is very interesting type of supernatural experiences that is not an actual spirit, but it's a recording of a specific energy that happened. Like I was saying about the Gettysburg ghost, that's a lot of residual hauntings. There was so much energy pushed out that it's like on a tape recorder that's playing over and over and over again. It's just looping. That moment of energy will never leave that area. And that's why there's been so many people that sees the guys loading up the cannons and doing the same thing over and over again, or marching across the field over and over again every night. They see the same things every night. And that's what a residual haunting is. It's just that energy.
Yeah,
And
and there's
as
been videos, haven't there, on the get that area where they've
yes.
actually been able to video the
Oh yeah.
apparitions.
Uh-huh. Very clear apparitions at that. That's because there was so much emotion, and emotion is energy. So it's never going to end there. I don't think there's anything that can stop a residual haunting.
By Quick Shoe, have fun at the beach.
Later, Quick
Quick
Shoe.
Shoe's
Thanks for
going to the
coming.
beach in the morning.
Must be
See the
nice.
sunrise. The beaches are beautiful for sunrise and sunsets.
Okay, as everything on Earth is made of energy, and energy cannot be disturbed, like a location where a person has released a large amount of energy or a heightened state of emotions was experienced, as we just talked about. The energy stays in that spot like a movie playing over and over again, repeating itself. Uh, like I said, war battles are a big part of that, and it's probably the most common for most types of hauntings. Now, interference energy is like a porthole or a tornado vortex, which creates a spiritual opening to another dimension and it is left open. It can work as an open door to the unwelcome spirits from, people call it astral. I call it I call it just another dimension, but I'm not highly educated. Uh,
You call it what you want to, baby.
yeah. This can be dealt with by closing the porthole. Now that's a very closing a porthole is not easy. It has to be done correctly. You can't That's something you just can't half ass. If you constantly have spirits coming in, like where I'm sitting at right now, underneath my house, there's a sinkhole. I found this sinkhole because a water line busted at the other end of the house and I had to crawl underneath the house. And I fell all the way down to here in mud. I thought I was probably, if I wouldn't have had a board, I was walking with boards, crawling with boards to stay out of the mud a little bit. And if I wouldn't have had them boards, I'd probably been gone, and nobody even know what happened to me. But I had a hold of them boards under my armpits, and I was almost up to my chin in mud. Now, in the backyard, when it rains hard, you can see water that comes out of the ground, which tells you there's caves underneath there. And all those caves are connected. And caves and water hold energy and let spirits travel through those. And that's basically, and a porthole can be a mirror, it can be a doorway. It usually has to have some kind of boundary around it, like a doorway or a mirror and such. And demonic energy. There is a light and a dark energy, as the demonic spirits are not confused, but rather malevolent energy.
Hold on just a second. Dave's channel, he says, I'm interested in things like the apparition or the appearance of Mary, Mother of God at Lourdes. Any thoughts about this being? This is a good, positive sighting. Rolling with T-Bone stated that that's enlightenment, Dave. Great energy. And
Yep.
I agree that it does show that there were things there, whether it was shown because of bad things going on or shown just to show that the spirit's there, I think is a good, positive, or
Yep.
miraculous event. And then
Yeah,
Process
absolutely.
says, I've been assaulted by darkness, shadows, and just after my friend shot herself in same spot, it was a dark, dark place. And yeah, Process, that was a dark place for you and for her. And
Yes, for both
it
of
can
you.
remain dark because there was negative energies there for her to be able to do that. So your ability to get away from it and start being more positive in your life and the things that you've seen and things that have changed, and I've seen that you've come through, is amazing.
Yeah. You Process has survived a lot of traumatic events in his life because he was he was in the rock and roll band scene, and he lost a lot of friends and relatives to drugs and alcohol. And I don't think there's probably anything that man hasn't seen, and it's affected his life a lot. And when the in the last year and a half, he just backed off of it. He backed off YouTube. He backed off everything that he was doing before, and we can see a big difference in him now.
Now he's getting back into his music and
Yeah,
able to do
but
some other things,
even
doing
his
great with the pet savior, or uh, taking care of the lost pets and left pets. And
yeah,
but Rowan with T-Bone said, and it's amazing how God will appear in different ways. Most people miss the signs. Yeah,
yes,
they
they
do.
do.
A lot
A
of
lot
people
of
don't
people
look
are
for them.
blind to what's going on around them in that
And
spiritual realm.
Ray's Modal Life says, so do you guys believe that most spirits or ghosts get stuck in a loop and that's why people see them over and over? I don't know that as far as my belief, I don't know that it's actually getting stuck in a loop, but I think that you're going to, it's their energy and they're not ready to leave. So you're going to see them over and over because they're not leaving. They're there.
Yeah. Now, if you see him doing the same thing over and over again, like the battlefields of Gettysburg, that would be a residual replay of that energy going round and around and just replaying itself. Now, if you're seeing or hearing different things, I would say not. They're just not willing to what I call surrender to God and go to the light. Because I've had spirits tell me, I've told spirits, you need to go to the light. Somebody in your family, somebody that cares about you is in heaven and they are waiting for you to get there. And I've had, I've had them tell me, no, I'm not going to the light. Or they'll keep asking, why, why? Why do I need to go there? Because your spirit doesn't belong here and you need to go be with who you need to be with. There's always somebody waiting for you. I don't think
Some people have had so much trauma at the time that they died that not only do they not believe that they're dead, but they don't believe that there's anyone that cares or loves that's
yeah,
waiting for them. So they have a hard time crossing into that light and accepting that there's another um, karma or another journey for them to take.
yeah.
So they end up staying in that negative process.
Uh-huh. And yeah, it's all fear. God's not going to accept me. My family members ain't going to accept me. No one loves me. No one ever cared. Now,
But that's that negative loop that they
yeah,
get stuck in, or that negative
yeah,
atmosphere.
yeah. Because, like, for me, I hate to say it, but to me, my family was shit on Shane. Shane's my real name. And a lot of things that happened to me that never should have happened to me, and family members just didn't care. And so, just like when my mom told me that she was going to have my niece that never could stand me. She never could stand me even when she was a little kid. When I used to come around this little girl, she used to cry. She's always had a problem with me before she even knew, that she should have a problem or there would be a reason to have a problem. And my mother put her in charge of everything. So when my mother got sick and went to the hospital, well, my niece had me kicked out. I couldn't ask the doctor questions, and she was having a unnecessary surgery that ended up ending her life. And I had no say in the matter. And there's things that I should have got that I'll never get because my niece has these emotions, and she is such it's how to put it, it's all about, everything's always been about how she feels, that she wasn't even going to put, okay, my mom died, then my sister OD'd 3 days later on my mother's, I call it going out drugs. The They gave my mom a bunch of drugs so she wouldn't be in pain the last 2 or 3 weeks of her life. Well, somehow my sister stole them from her house, from her daughter's house, went home and OD'd. And my niece tried to blame my sister's husband, which started a whole bunch of crap. But anyway, she wasn't even going to put my dad's name on the obituary. She says, my stepdad, they all called him Granddad. She said Granddad was her father. I was like, look, It doesn't fucking matter how you feel about it. My sister loved my father dearly, dearly. And even though my father was never around, my sister loved my father dearly because there was a time that she got to spend with him before he left. I was 2 when he left, so I didn't have that attachment, you know. And he never came and got us. We'd sit outside. He'd call and say, well, I'll be there Friday to pick you up for the weekend. And we go sit outside with our suitcases and he never show up. So that's what I knew about him. The only thing my father taught me was how not to be a father. But she wasn't even going to put his name on there. I was like, look, this is about your own mother and what your mother wants, not about what you want. But that was, sorry, I get on a rant about that. That's one of the things I have a hard time letting go of,
Well, it was a very negative experience that you had to live through and are still living through.
Yeah.
And dealing with because of everything that happened. So it's something that sometimes you have to get out. Hi, Candy. Welcome. Flower Child 58. She changed her name again. But
Yeah.
welcome. And, long story shorter is he had a very traumatic upbringing in life.
Yeah, I did.
And now things aren't wonderful by any means. There's still things that we're going through and things that we have to deal with, but it's I like to think it's a much brighter, positive experience for you.
Better since I've met you. My life has gotten brighter, yes. And I didn't even want nothing to do with any more women. When we got back together, I was on the F women. I don't want nothing to do with them for what the last wives did to me. And most men would be the same way if they had to deal with what I had to deal with. And some of that was sorry, I got a mustache here. A lot of that was the negative energy they had. They weren't positive about anything. But on to the demonics. Let's see here.
That was the demons in his life.
Yeah. Let's see. Malevolent energy can wreak havoc and chaos in an area or our lives, especially if they are summoned or given permission to enter a place. And you really have to be careful with that right there. A lot of people don't know that they are giving a dark energy permission to come into their home or into their lives. One of the biggest, but not the only way, is people screwing around with Ouija boards
And seances.
Witchcraft. Yeah, and seances.
Don't group witchcraft in there with that. There's good witchcraft.
Seance is a part of witchcraft. And it can lead to a negative spirit or a demonic spirit coming into your life. And there's one that is known widely is ZO. If you say his name, it's ZO. Well, I just got goosebumps even doing that.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
He can be summoned, and it's not. He is not a one entity demonic thingamabobby. He is known across the whole world. There are videos where people has been screwing with Ouija boards and he comes out of that Ouija board. So he's just not in one place. He is evil all over. And a lot of people that don't know how to use a Ouija board properly, like taking your hands off of it, that's a no-no. You cannot take your hands off of it. And what do people
until you
do?
close
They
it.
get an answer and they get scared and they well, you just let him in. You just let whatever is there in. And that's why my sister, my whole family, I have a crap load of cousins. They all played around with the Ouija board. And when I saw how they was doing it, I was like, no way I'm participating in this. I'll sit back and watch, but I am not participating in this. And actually, Ouija board, we got a lot of information out about a ghost that was in our house when me and her dated. Go ahead.
Dave says sickness and depression manifest to say it's your fault, you're to blame. It's really very selfish and one-sided conversations. And yes, sickness and depression do manifest that, and that negativity becomes your loop.
Yeah.
Flower Child said, God gave you a good woman. Thank you.
I know that.
Process says,
I feel that
the happy birthday ritual is an age-sucking process. Circle candles, chant happy birthday. There you go. Rolling with T-Bone says, I have always believed magic is magic. The person makes it good or evil. Magic just is. And I believe that too, T-Bone.
Yeah.
The problem is you have people that don't understand it, that use it. And a lot of times it's the intent more than it is what you're actually doing or saying. It's the intent that you are putting out into the universe. So I believe that it is good is good and bad is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that stems back to Africa and Argentina and somewhere else. I can't remember. They use a lot of black magic.
Dave said, when that happens, Frog, just remember how Mary, Mother of God, wept for the savageness of the world.
That's right. And that's why you're always seeing on the news and different shows that the Mother of Mary statue is either crying or bleeding out her eyes. That's happened. I'm almost 60 years old, and I can't even tell you how many times I've seen news stories where stuff like that has happened to her statues. More than any statue that Jesus, that it's been more reported on her statues than Jesus's statues. Not that they haven't happened in Jesus' statue, but I've heard it a lot more from Mother Mary than Jesus. Let's see. Oh, and the use of demonic symbols. Now, see, I've wanted to fuss at Process about that, because if he stopped using some of those symbols that he uses, would help him get all that negative energy away from him. Anytime that you use that symbol, you're inviting that negativity in. That it's like, to me, it's like a doorway. And those symbols represent a certain thing. And with that certain thing, and you're using it, even though you don't think of it that way, you're inviting that badness into you or around you. So please be careful with the symbols that you use, because a lot of people don't even think that, oh, just because I draw this pentagram that doesn't mean anything. It does. It's an invitation, and that's all a part of uh, inviting them in and saying it's okay for you to come in to my dwelling, which to me a dwelling is everything that's around me. That's it. To me, that's your dwelling. Doesn't matter where you're at. Everything everything that dwells around you, you have to make sure that you're not inviting it in. And symbols and I believe is my belief that it's an invitation. That's why I've never ever messed with that kind of stuff. Never. Uh, let's see. I talk about, and a Ouija board can be used right, and you can find out a lot of information to a Ouija board, but it has to be done correctly. You
And
you
it's
have to
really
know.
best not to
You
mess
need to
with.
study things before you go playing around with it, and a lot of people don't. They just go and do it.
Say, oh, this is cool. Let's try this.
Now,
But
dark
we're at
energy. Sorry.
um we're at 8:56. We got about 4 minutes before we're at the hour. If you want to close it down in the hour.
Okay. We'll do that because yeah, uh, I do have more to talk about, so I guess we'll save that for another show. But let me finish with the dark energy. Now, a
Okay.
lot of dark energies can come from a murder site, jails, homes and places that has had horrendous crimes or events. Uh, this type of paranormal is is not good, but it can be removed when it's done correctly. Now, let me say this. I've noticed in the last month that there's all kinds of Instagram posts saying that saging your house invites in bad spirits. That's bullshit. And the people that are putting that out are fucking evil because that is 1,000-year-old tradition of bad spirits, removing bad spirits. Every priest, every religion has used sage to get rid of bad bad spirits and demonic spirits. And there is a campaign of evil in this world today, as we've all seen in the last 5 years, that this has been a spiritual war against the earth. And that's a prime example of what they will do. The, they are evil and they are trying to trick the good into not believing the in the faith that we need to have and the tools we need to use to fight it. And it makes me freaking angry that people are putting that out. And I probably see I might sit on Instagram for an hour and just go through real fast, how we do. And I might see 5 or 6 things denouncing the use of things we need to keep evil out of our house and out of our lives. And it burns me up, you know. Like I said, when the president was shot, some people say that was an angel. Well, I kind of thought that way too, but then one night I was sitting in the living room and something in my head said that wasn't an angel, that was Jesus. And I was like, you know what? That was Jesus. Jesus died on the cross just like that flag. Just like that flag looked, you know. Its arms was stretched out and his body was hanging there. But these are all just my opinions. Don't take it to heart or not take it to heart. I hope you take it to heart because I feel like, a lot, I've had a lot of experiences and good and bad. And like Lori said, Lolly said, in my younger days, I had so much evil in my life that I actually used to break into a church, not into the church, but they had like a garden, a garden area on the side of the church, but it was all gated and had a 15-foot wall. Well, I used to climb that, mother, to get in there and pray in front of Sister Mary or Mother Mary. And I got caught by the cops once, and I was sitting there bawling. I was probably, I think, in the third grade, and I was bawling. And he's like, "Why was you in there?" I said, "I was in there praying." I said, "I come in here all the time." And the cop was just flabbergasted. He didn't know what to say. And he just left. I mean, he didn't, but I was literally, climbing the wall to get in there to pray. And I did that probably for years. And even as a teenager, because we had moved away for a while, and then my mom married my stepdad, and we lived over in Louisville for a while. That's when I went to the same school Muhammad Ali went to. That was fun.
Hold some stories for next time. Rolling with T-Bone says the Bible teaches us there will be signs. Learn to test the spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Flower Child talking about the Ouija board says she can find out the information without those boards.
Yeah. Some
Process
people can.
says an amazing topic and that he would love to come on and do a show with us on the UFOs. So we may do that next
Awesome.
time. The Sage, Flower Child agrees that it does cleanse your home. She has a special blend to cleanse home and spaces. Rolling with T-Bones has been an excellent show, guys. Looking forward to the next one already. Process said the tide has turned and we're starting to win. Together we will overcome. That's absolute Process.
Yep.
Red Lady came in. Thank you for coming and supporting us, Red Lady. When is the next one? Rolling with T-Bone asks, when's the next one? Are we going to do next week or wait a week?
No, we're going to wait a week.
Okay. So we'll, not this next Tuesday.
Hold on. What I will put out next week, I've been running my ghost tube at night, and most of them I was just doing it off my computer, and it looked fine here, but you can't hardly hear me, and you can't see nothing but the glare of my glasses. But I got a special one for you, T-Bone. I have it's called a shear app. It's part of Ghost Tube, and you can ask the spirits to show you a picture. And it showed me a picture of a damn Bigfoot.
Yeah.
A Bigfoot. And I was like, what the hell? but there's some very interesting things that it's been showing me lately. And every night it showed me a bloody scene. So, but I will put some of that out next week. But we'll
do a video. Do a video next week, and then we'll do a live the week after.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how we're probably going to try to set it up.
Yeah.
Dave says, here, great show. And the mention of Mother Mary of God is a very big deal in a negative world.
Yes,
she still is making apparitions. That's true.
Yeah.
Roland says, wow, yes, I want to see that. So you'll have to get that out for them. So
yeah.
Again, thank you everybody for coming in and the support. I think this one, we had some really good conversation too, and people were chiming in with us. So that was really awesome.
That really helps us out that you all, have questions, and have things to say about what we're talking about. It doesn't feel
Yeah.
like we're just staring at the screen, spewing words out, and nobody's there. So
Yeah.
we
And let us
greatly
know if
appreciate
you
that.
have topics or questions or stuff that you curious about and want to know. We can go over some more stuff later or
Yeah.
schedule it. And again, thank you for all those that supported us. Like we said at the beginning, Dave's channel, Rolling with T-Bone, check them out. Wannabe Farmer, Rocket Queen 71, Flower Child. Check out the channels. Let's see, Unchained Rabbit Hole on Sundays. Retired Rider and Ray's Moto Life and Coy have a morning show. And then Motobomb and Sick Bastard, Ray Gregory
And
Rides, Old Mike, they do their morning shows. And then
the
they also
Unchained
have,
Rabbit Hole. Did you say that?
yeah, I said that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. Have
Because
a
he
hard time
comes
hearing.
on, yeah, Unchained Rabbit Hole, I think, is doing Sunday nights, is their main one. And then they have another one on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Rolling with T-Bone is Monday nights. And Retired Rider has his morning, early morning. And then Motobomb and Duct Tape Community has the evening shows and their morning coffee. And
Ray's
then
Moto Life
Ray's
has been
on,
putting out some good stuff here lately on his lives.
yeah, he has. Ray Gregory Rides is Friday nights. Motobomb is
Wednesday ride.
Saturday nights. Old Mac comes on in the morning, sometimes after. So I just want to thank everybody so much for the support. It's really been appreciated. Dave says, sleep well, knowing that you are guided people. Flowers always here. Roland, someday on my schedule will allow me to come on. Definitely just let us know on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock when you're available and we'll get you on here. Same thing with Process. We'd love to hear that UFO story. Dave says, you guys rock. Very proud to support what you guys are about. Thank you so much. Process is reformatting and coming on after a cleanse. Very good, Process. You've done so good this last year. I'm so proud of you and happy for you.
Yes, we are. We're very proud of you, brother.
So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time. Watch for the video next week, and the next Tuesday will be another live. Thank you. Peace out, everybody. Keep those positive spirits and positive thoughts going forward. Bye.